Imagine for a second that you are standing on a glass floor, hundreds of meters in the air.
Which is terrifying for some people.
Oh, totally terrifying. But you're looking down at this sprawling, hyper-modern metropolis illuminated by neon. The sheer verticality of it makes your stomach just kind of drop.
Right.
But then you blink, and suddenly you are standing in a cool, dimly lit earthen trench.
A completely different world.
Exactly. You're locking eyes with a life-size clay soldier. And this meticulously carved face hasn't seen the sun in, over 2,000 years.
I mean, it is the ultimate chronological whiplash.
Yeah.
You're moving from a society trying to scrape the edge of the atmosphere straight down into a civilization that literally buried its greatest achievements in the dirt.
And that whiplash is exactly what we're exploring today. We are taking a deep dive into two of China's most iconic yet completely opposing cities.
Shanghai and Xi'an.
Spot on. We're unpacking how these two destinations represent entirely different paradigms of Chinese culture. You have Shanghai, the hyper-modern coastal titan.
Right, the mega city.
Yeah, going head-to-head with Xi'an, which is the ancient inland historical heart.
And this isn't just about contrasting, a new city with an old one. By comparing these two specific places, we can synthesize what makes each of them absolutely essential for understanding the broader cultural landscape.
Right, because they're blueprints.
Exactly. They offer two completely different blueprints for how a civilization grows, how it interacts with the world, and, well, even how it feeds itself.
Oh, we are definitely getting to the food. So, whether you are actively prepping for a real trip, or you're looking for some serious culinary inspiration, or you just love a good session of armchair traveling, you are in the right place.
We want to arm you with the specific cultural knowledge to really get it.
Yeah, those sudden aha moments to truly understand these destinations without, bogging you down in a dry itinerary. So let's jump right into the most immediate impact a city has on any traveler.
The visual skyline.
Yes, the physical structure of a place. Because the architectural contrast between Shanghai and Xi'an is just staggering.
It really is. It's entirely about the direction your eyes are drawn, and by extension, where the city's ambition lies.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because in Shanghai, everything compels you to look up. The urban planning is completely defined by vertical ambition.
Way up. I mean, Shanghai is the biggest city in China, and it feels like a city that is just sprinting into the future.
Oh, for sure.
The skyscrapers are among the tallest in the world, and the absolute standout from the sources is the Oriental Pearl Tower.
Such an unmistakable landmark.
It is massive. It stands 240 meters tall. To put that into perspective, you are looking at a structure significantly higher than a 100-story building.
And, the function of a building that massive isn't just to look impressive from the sidewalk.
Right.
The entire purpose of the Oriental Pearl Tower's design, with its observation decks, is to draw people to the top. Visitors go up there specifically because it allows you to consume the entire city at once.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
It's about conquering the landscape through sheer height and modern engineering. When a city builds like that, it is making a bold statement of technological triumph. It's projecting dominance outward and upward.
Upward, exactly.
Yeah.
But then, and this is where it gets crazy, you take a flight inland to Xi'an, and that entire physical dynamic just flips on its head.
Completely inverts.
Yeah, instead of looking up at glass and steel, you are looking down. You are literally digging into the earth.
Because Xi'an is a former ancient capital with a history spanning over 2 millennia.
Right. And its most defining feature, the Terracotta Army, is literally buried under the ground.
The psychological contrast here is just fascinating to me.
How so?
Well, think about it. Shanghai builds 240 meters into the sky to be seen by everyone, to be, impossible to ignore.
Yeah, very loud.
But ancient Xi'an spent immense resources, labor, artistry, building this intricate, massive army, only to bury it in the dark for thousands of years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It was an inward, subterranean projection of power.
That is such a cool way to frame it. And the scale of what was hidden beneath the earth is just mind-blowing. We aren't talking about a few ceremonial artifacts.
No, not at all.
It's an entire army made of clay statues, thousands of them. But the detail that always stops me in my tracks, and the sources highlight this, is the individuality.
The faces.
Yes. Every single one of those thousands of clay statues has a completely different face.
That is the crucial detail. They weren't just stamped out of some primitive assembly line mold. They were distinct individuals, hand-carved from the earth.
Which is wild.
The amount of artistic bandwidth and logistical coordination required to ensure that thousands of statues all had Unique facial features, unique hairstyles, unique expressions. It's staggering.
It really is. And, the history of Xi'an isn't only underground either. You also have these massive structures sitting right on the surface.
Like the city wall.
Yes, the ancient city wall. This is a 600-year-old fortification, and it is so massive and wide that a popular activity for travelers is actually renting a bicycle to ride on top of it.
Which is such a unique experience.
It takes a full hour just to complete the circuit around the wall on a bike.
And think about the vantage point that provides. You are physically elevated on a 600-year-old defensive structure, but you're looking down at modern daily life.
Right.
You can literally see old traditional courtyard houses sitting right next to completely new apartment buildings and commercial centers.
It totally changes how you experience time as a traveler. In Shanghai, you are standing on the pavement looking up at the future. But in Xi'an, you are elevated on this physical boundary between eras. You are pedaling a bike along the perimeter of a time capsule, basically watching the 21st century happen below you.
That physical environment frames your entire understanding of the city. Shanghai uses its monumental height to showcase modern progress, a forward-looking trajectory.
Right.
While Xi'an uses its massive grounded structures to frame the present against this inescapable backdrop of antiquity.
Which brings up a really interesting question. How did these two cities end up with such distinct architectural identities?
That's the big question.
Right. Because architecture isn't just about when a building was made or how tall it is. It's a direct reflection of the people who built it, and specifically the global influences that flowed through those streets.
Exactly.
Both of these cities are massive global hubs, but in completely different ways.
Right. Because the architecture is essentially just the physical residue of international trade.
Oh, I like that phrasing.
Let's look at Shanghai first. One of the most famous areas in this city is the Bund. It's a waterfront promenade right along the Huangpu River.
Very famous, yeah.
And what defines the Bund isn't hypermodern glass. It's this stunning collection of European-style buildings dating back to the 1920s.
Yeah, it's this massive injection of 1920s cosmopolitan flair. You have these grand neoclassical banks and trading houses that look like they were plucked straight out of London or Paris and just dropped onto the Chinese coast.
Because it is a physical manifestation of modern maritime globalization. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, foreign powers and international trading companies set up shop right on the river.
Right, the shipping routes.
Exactly. The Bund shows how international maritime trade literally built the city's coastal identity. Shanghai became the ultimate international melting pot, where modern finance and global shipping brought the East and West together.
Okay, wait, I actually have to challenge that premise a bit.
Oh, right. Let's hear it.
Because we constantly label coastal modern cities like Shanghai as the ultimate international hubs, as if globalization was invented in the 1920s with steamships and European banks.
That's a fair point.
But looking at the sources on the history of Xi'an, they were a massive cosmopolitan global hub over 1,000 years before Shanghai even had a skyline.
That is a highly necessary correction. We definitely have this bias toward maritime globalization because it feels more recent and familiar to us.
Right, exactly.
But you're absolutely right. While Shanghai was mingling with Europe in the 1920s, Xi'an was the eastern terminus of the legendary Silk Road.
Yes, long before massive cargo ships were pulling into the river, Xi'an was connecting China to Europe and the Middle East over land.
The camel caravans.
Right. For over a millennium, merchants from faraway empires traveled this sprawling, dangerous overland route, and they ended up right in the markets of Xi'an.
And what's crucial to understand about the Silk Road is the mechanism of that exchange. They weren't just trading physical commodities like silk, spices, or precious metals.
No, it was way more than that.
The Silk Road was the original information superhighway.
Right, because when a merchant travels for months or years, they bring their culture with them.
Precisely. They brought their religions, their agricultural techniques, their philosophies, and their innovations. You had a massive mingling of ideas happening in the markets of inland China centuries before the European trading houses went up in Shanghai.
So both of these cities are profound examples of where East meets West, but they represent entirely different eras and mechanisms of the global economy.
They really do.
Xi'an is the poster child for ancient globalization, the slow, centuries-long burn of cultural exchange over unforgiving terrain. While Shanghai is the epicenter of modern globalization, the fast-paced maritime 20th century economic boom.
And that geographical difference, the ancient, dry, inland trading routes versus the modern, humid coastal ports, It doesn't just dictate the architecture and the history.
No.
It completely dictates the agriculture, which means it shaped two wildly different food cultures.
I'm so glad we are getting to the food. Because the culinary divide between these two cities is just as stark as looking at a 240-meter tower versus an underground clay army.
Food is arguably the most intimate way a traveler interacts with a city's history. And in Shanghai, the food culture is an exact mirror of its skyline.
How so?
It is modern, delicate, engineered, and extremely fast-paced.
Let's look at the everyday breakfast culture in Shanghai. It is heavily defined by on-the-go convenience.
People have places to be.
Exactly. You have millions of people commuting, stopping at street vendors to pick up perfectly executed simple staples. You grab a hot, fresh soy milk, which is made from soybeans paired with yuqiao.
The dough sticks.
Yeah, those long, golden, deep-fried dough sticks.
It's quick energy for a fast-moving city. Or the jianbing, the savory Chinese crepe wrapped around egg, sauces, and a crispy cracker. It's street food engineered for maximum flavor and portability.
But the undisputed crown jewel of Shanghai's culinary engineering is the xiaolongbao, the famous soup dumplings.
This is where the sheer cleverness of Shanghai cuisine really shines. Because making a soup dumpling isn't just cooking, it requires a deep understanding of food mechanics.
Right, because the obvious question when you look at one is, how on earth do you get liquid soup inside a sealed dough wrapper without it turning into a soggy mess before you even cook it?
It's all about temperature and state changes. The secret is collagen.
Let's break that down.
So the chefs create a rich pork broth, heavily reduced with collagen-rich cuts, like pork skin. When that broth cools down, the gelatin solidifies it into a firm, jelly-like state.
Aspic.
Exactly. They take that solid, cold aspic, mix it with the meat filling, and wrap the delicate dough around it.
So it's completely solid when they fold it?
Right. But when the dumpling goes into the bamboo steamer, the intense heat melts that gelatin back into a rich, savory liquid broth.
It is brilliant culinary engineering. But, that engineering also requires the eater to participate in the precision.
You can't just eat it like a regular dumpling.
No, you don't just pop a whole xiaolongbao into your mouth unless you want a trip to the burn ward. It's an interactive, delicate process.
Right, there's a method.
You have to lift it carefully onto your spoon, bite a tiny hole in the wrapper to let the steam escape, gently slurp out the hot broth, and only then do you eat the dumpling itself. It is honestly like carefully diffusing a delicious, scalding hot water balloon.
That precision, that delicate interaction, perfectly encapsulates the Shanghai ethos. But then you travel inland to Xi'an, and the food culture is a completely different beast.
It's a total 180, and it starts with the most foundational ingredient. Because when many people think of Chinese food, they default to rice.
Sure, yeah.
But Xi'an cuisine relies heavily on wheat.
And this goes right back to geography and climate. Shanghai is coastal, humid, and surrounded by regions perfect for cultivating rice.
Right.
Xi'an is northern and inland. The climate is much drier and cooler. It's a harsh environment where rice simply doesn't thrive, but wheat grows beautifully.
And what they do with that wheat is incredibly hardy. It's designed to sustain people in a more rugged climate. The absolute must-try from the notes is the rujiamo, which you'll often hear referred to as the Chinese hamburger.
Though, calling it a hamburger almost does a disservice to the texture.
Fair.
The rujiamo features meat, usually pork or beef, that has been slow-cooked in a massive vat of spiced broth for hours until it is just meltingly tender.
But the genius is the bread. They chop up that rich, fatty meat and stuff it inside a specialized baked flatbread.
Yeah, the bread is key.
The bread is baked to be perfectly crispy and flaky on the outside, but the inside remains fluffy and porous, specifically designed to soak up all those rich meat juices without falling apart.
It's robust, filling food. It's the kind of meal that fuels a merchant heading out on the Silk Road.
Absolutely.
But the true star of Xi'an's wheat-based culture, and where the culinary philosophy really diverges from Shanghai, is the hand-pulled noodles.
Specifically, the biang noodles. And here's where it gets really interesting. Eating in Shanghai, carefully sipping soup from a dumpling, is a quiet, refined experience. Eating in Xi'an is a spectacle. The creation of the food is a literal performance.
The chefs pull and stretch the dough right in front of you. It's highly auditory.
Right, the name biang isn't just a traditional word. These are incredibly wide, thick, ribbon-like noodles, and they are named specifically for the sound they make.
The physical sound.
Yeah, the chef takes this thick piece of wheat dough and violently smacks it against the wooden table to stretch it out. Biang.
I love that.
It's loud, it's rhythmic, and it's completely out in the open.
And that contrast is just so revealing. In Shanghai, the cleverness is hidden away inside the dumpling. You have to carefully extract it. In Xi'an, the creativity is loud, it's public, it's a performance. Every dish in Xi'an feels like it's telling a story of the people who work the land and traveled the trade routes.
It's precision versus performance. Diffusing a delicate soup dumpling versus watching a chef smack dough on a table to the heavy rhythm of bang, bang. It just perfectly encapsulates the vibe of each city.
It shows how Xi'an's food is deeply rooted in its hearty historical origins, meant to sustain weary travelers and merchants traversing continents.
Right.
While Shanghai's food highlights fast-paced modern convenience mixed with meticulous, delicate culinary techniques tailored for a booming metropolis.
So bringing this all together, if you take nothing else away from this deep dive, remember that exploring a country as vast as this is never a monolithic experience. You aren't just visiting one homogeneous culture.
Far from it. You are stepping into distinct paradigms of human history.
You get the towering, sky-piercing ambition, the clever engineering, and the 1920s cosmopolitan flair in Shanghai.
Yeah.
And that is beautifully juxtaposed with the hearty, wheat-based feasts, the ancient clay armies buried in the dirt, and the millennia-old overland trade legacy of Xi'an.
They are two sides of a very complex coin. To understand one, it helps to understand what the other chose not to be.
And for you listening, whether you are planning an actual trip or just exploring from home, there is a really important practical takeaway here.
Embrace your curiosity on a ground level.
Exactly. The architecture is stunning, but the real understanding comes from the interaction. Don't be afraid to walk up to those fast-paced street vendors in Shanghai and practice a simple order. Just ask for 1 soy milk and 2 yu chow.
Or take the time to rent that bicycle on the 600-year-old walls of Xi'an and feel the scale of the fortification beneath you.
Such a good tip.
Ask the locals to point you toward the best spot to watch a noodle pulling performance.
Right.
The practical sensory experience of travel, the tastes, the sounds, the physical exertion is just as important as reading the history.
Exactly. Eat the food, ride the bikes, listen for the sounds of the dough hitting the table.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over.
Ooh, all right.
We spent this time talking about how wildly different these cities are, how Shanghai relentlessly looks to the future and the sky, while Xi'an meticulously preserves the past deep in the earth.
Right.
But look closer at the underlying motivation in both places.
What do you mean?
Think about the Terracotta warriors. Among those thousands of 2,000-year-old statues buried in the dark, immense effort was spent to ensure every single one was given a completely unique, distinct face.
Yeah, that's
They refused to be uniform.
The sheer labor involved in that individuality is just wild to think about.
Now look at modern Shanghai. Every new skyscraper that goes up is designed to stand out. Architects compete to create unique silhouettes, to pierce the clouds and be instantly recognized against a crowded skyline.
Oh, wow.
So whether it's an ancient clay soldier formed by hand in the dirt, or a modern tower made of glass and steel reaching for the stratosphere, perhaps that deep, fundamental human desire to be uniquely remembered, to stand out from the crowd, is the one thing that hasn't changed at all.
I love that. We started this deep dive talking about how history is usually presented as a flat, orderly timeline. But when you look at the unique faces carved in the clay and the unique silhouettes glittering in the clouds, you realize history isn't just a timeline of events.
No, it's not.
It's a collection of people separated by thousands of years, all just trying to leave a mark that says, I was here.
A perfect way to close.
Thanks for diving in with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.